cute cat girl that is in fact a girl and also a cat. This one goes out for all you cat girl enjoyers out there. Or not, because it features both cats and girls, so all of you weebs can enjoy Nekopara. I played it, you played it, and we're all very familiar with what it can do to the guy downstairs.
Yeah, boy.
But what if I told you that there's something even more potent? First, we must define what a cat girl is. Cat girl. A cute girl with cat appendages such as cat ears and a cat tail that brings out one's innate love for cats, while still retaining all the good things about regular waifus as to pertain to the weeb's fantasy. A middle ground between the two realms, if you will, but not quite either. Perfection, right? Wrong, I say. What if we could somehow have the best of both worlds without sacrificing anything? Cute waifus who could literally turn into little fur balls of cuteness? Well, Elon finally put his money towards something useful and funded that catgirl program he's been yapping about. The manga's title is Even a Cat's Paw Can Be Useful, which does sound a bit sus, but let's not talk about that. And I vow to all things holy on this planet that I'm going to intervene if any of you ask what the name is in the comments. Takase Sho is a young smart fella, not a fart smeller by any means. He has been caring for a stray kitten named Michan for a long time, and at the moment, she is his #1 priority. He can't take her in because of his parents' frequent moves for work, so he can only be a simp and provide for her material needs like food and toys. Today, he's having a date with Michan, and as per usual cat behavior, she's sleeping in his lap. He can't help but be smitten by her adorableness and tries taking a photo of her sleeping face. The shutter sound from his phone startles Michan, and she begins to awaken from her slumber. In the moments following, through a cloud of smoke, he finds himself with a whole girl pressed up against his danger zone. And, oh my, if she isn't awakening some dangerous thoughts in me also. Michan thought she just woke up from a good old nap in the park. What she forgot when she fell asleep is that she did so on Takase's lap. Upon hearing his confused scream, she starts to slowly turn around, only to find him going through the first stage of grief. For some reason, she's decided that the best course of action would be to meow at him while looking like a normal girl. Bro has just reached stage 2 of grief. Furious, he demands to know what she did to his beloved Michan, but she lets him know that she is and was in fact Michan all along. Bro is having none of that fairy tale bullshit. Since her disguise has been exposed anyway, she returns to her cat form in front of him, demonstrating that she is Michan. As he sprints over to pet cat Michan's chin, the cat suddenly turns back into a human. Despite his stellar academic performance, Bro's brain, much like my computer trying to do the most basic of things, is just refusing to work. He figures that Michan is a special type of cat who has the ability to turn into a human. He assures her she was perfect just the way she was, and urges her to turn back into a kitten. Ignorance is bliss, I guess. Perplexed at his reaction, she reverts to her cat form and perches on his lap. On a side note, I have no clue what her human name is, so I'll just keep calling her Michan. As he makes his way to class the following day, he reflects on his bizarre, straight-out-of-a-manga experience from yesterday. Little does Bro know he's actually in a manga. He gets inside and notices a familiar face. Surprise, surprise, it's human Michan. She's in fact in the same class as him. No, she's sitting next to him. Bro can't believe his eyes while looking at her, but she just tells him to shut up for now and passes him a note with detailed instructions on where to meet up during lunch break. Fast forward to lunch break, and they're now sitting on some stairs. Michan has some explaining to do, but before any of that, she nonchalantly puts her head on his lap. Our boy asks her to get off of him before something starts poking her cheek, and she promptly does, apologizing that it's simply habit for cats. Anyways, she advises him to not tell anyone about what happened yesterday. Naturally, he wouldn't. Attempting to explain any of that would only lead people to believe he's lost his marbles. Since Michan is wary of strangers, he is perplexed as to why she allowed him to touch her, despite the fact that she must have known he was a classmate the whole time. She begins blabbering something that sounds an awful lot like the beginning of a confession, but he stops her, saying that he knows the reason Michan always came to him is because the treats he gave her. Truly not the sharpest tool in the shed, this guy. He has one thing to ask of her, though. To Michan's delight, he expresses a desire to keep seeing her and hopes that she will keep sitting on his lap. But only as a cat, of course. What a waste of an opportunity. Today, he's playing with the cat Michan, rubbing her belly and giving her treats, just the usual. He picks her up, saying he loves her. Upon hearing that, Michan takes off. She runs away, transforming back into a human, and sits down, saying that was one hell of a confession that just came out of nowhere. If you haven't figured it out by now, Michan is so down bad for our boy, she transformed into a cat for him. Looking back on Michan's behavior, it's quite a surprise to Takase that no one figured out the fact that she's a cat. Refusing chocolate, hissing at random bugs, and playing with people's toys. Armed with this newfound knowledge, he devises a nefarious plan, an absolutely savage plot, using her favorite toy to mess with her during their lunch breaks. He sees her walking with her friends and puts his master plan into action. It doesn't take long for her instincts to kick in and start chasing after the toy, pouncing onto him like a cat. But his plan didn't quite play out as he expected it to. Michan is currently on top of him with her crotch pressed up against his knee, trying to reach for the toy. I'm pretty sure this scene would much rather belong to another site that rhymes with corn tub. Snapping back from what she just did to poor Takase, she tells him to stop doing such things at school and takes off to tend to her unfinished business. Now that class is out for the day, they can relax on their beloved bench. It seems that bro finally put two and two together and realized that Michan is in fact normally a girl. And with that realization, of course, came a flood of not so good for this video's monetization thoughts. Thankfully, he brushes that aside as he notices Michan seated next to him and finds it impossible to ignore her adorableness. Now that Michan thinks Takase is interested solely in her cat form, she decides it's fine with her. All she wanted was to spend time with him, in any way she could. Suddenly, some random guy approaches them, demanding to know if the cat he is holding belongs to Takase. He says that it's not his, maybe it's a stray or something, but she's in fact a whole girl. The man apparently wanted to pet Michan as well. Upon sensing danger, Michan leaps from Takase's lap and ducks behind a tree for cover. The ops pulled up. Not only can that guy transform into a cat, but she claims she has no idea what he's up to. Knowing that everyone involved is up to date on the situation, he transforms into a tabby cat in front of Takase, saying that he'd better leave them alone. But ain't nobody scared of an orange cat. He saw a cute cat and went in to give it head pats. The cat is having none of it, though. He throws a cute little kitty punch before realizing it's useless and transforms back into a human. For some reason, the guy woke up on some hater shit today and tells Michan that she should not be hanging around humans. They are cats and don't need humans. Michan tells him to shut up. She never asked to be like this. She doesn't like being called a cat, and they're not the same. And as such, she will not join him on whatever he wants to do. The guy leaves, saying that he'll let them off the hook for now, but he'll be back. Following Michan's words, Takase apologizes to her, realizing that he has been treating her like a cat, despite her preferences. Although Michan generally dislikes being treated like a cat, she admits that she somewhat enjoys Takase's treatment of her cat self. Bro is kind of shook by that response, that being the first time a girl said she likes him. Kind of. In what is possibly the biggest fumble of this century, he tries showing her the little toy he carries around, but she refuses it. Well, that failed, but the fumble must go on. He pulls out the snacks he always gives her, but she also says she hates those. Seated next to him, she politely requests that he pet her since he is so eager to treat her like a cat. He hesitates for a moment before gently touching her head. The natural thing for a cat to do in response to that would be to meow, so that's exactly what she does. Thank God that's not me, 'cause you could have called me the Great Wall of China, the way you could have seen me bricked up from outer space. Well, she did what she came here to do, and that is play with a young player's heart, which she definitely succeeded in. leaving Bro to wonder what kind of situation he just found himself stuck in. Before leaving, though, she tells him to not forget to bring her more treats for tomorrow. Finally, a decently paced romance series. The next day has arrived, and they're both sitting on their favorite bench again. Bro is currently pondering the fact that his only joy, spending time with cat Mi-chan, has been replaced by spending time with human Mi-chan, though I'd call that a W. She looks at him and says that she knows he's disappointed, but she really is a human, so she can't do anything in that regard. He extends her one of the cat treats he's bought as promised, and she of course goes in for a bite. But Bro says nuh-uh. He bought that for cat Mi-chan, and if she wants it, she should transform into a cat. As soon as she does that, he begins to pet her on his lap, and she reverts to her human form. But it seems that Takase is really iffy today. He just tells her to get off of him. Mi-chan is kind of hurt, saying that if he really hates her that much, she should just tell her. But it's not like he dislikes her in particular, though. He's just not interested in humans at all. Upon hearing that, Mi-chan gets up, turns around and leaves. This dumbass just made her cry. The tabby cat from before was listening in on their conversation. He jumps down from the tree and transforms into a human to talk to this dumbass after what just went down. He's rightfully mad because Takase stayed by her side all this time, even after he learned that she's in fact human. But now he starts pushing her away whenever he feels like it. According to him, the last thing he wants is for any of his friends to be injured by people. And if that's what he's gonna do, then he's just going to end Takase right here and now. As he readies himself to put this guy 6 feet under, Takase stands there awkwardly, seemingly unsure if he intends to murder him like this. He merely wanted to tell Takase that he should go after her. I'm starting to like Tabby, and dislike Takase for some reason. Takase looks at him and says that he would, but he doesn't know where she went. For some strange reason, Tabby knows the answer to that. He says that he knows where she went because he chased her around yesterday, and tells Takase to follow him. They're headed to the place Mi-chan works part-time, all the while Mr. Tabby is complaining about humans' inability to transform into cats, though that is perfectly normal. They reach the destination. Although Tabby knew where Mi-chan worked, he didn't know exactly what that work entailed. They enter the building, and what do you know? She's working at a cat cafe, as a cat obviously. A lady approaches them and asks if they would like a table for 2. Takase is of course blinded by all the cats, and instantly says yes. While walking around drooling over all of the cats, who else does he find there except for, of course, Mi-chan? He looks at her almost disgusted by her "I'm human" shtick, which she pulls off while actually working as a professional cat. The only friend's version of cats. He menacingly approaches Mi-chan, picking her up asking if she's not going to play with him. Tabby tells him that he's brought his dumb ass here to apologize to Mi-chan, not to scare the hoes away. Takase says that he's just a bit mad because Mi-chan told him to treat her like a human, but she's literally working as a cat. In any case, he's in a cat cafe, so he might as well enjoy himself. He spots a chody kitty and picks it up while Mi-chan is looking at him cheating on her with other cats. All she wanted was to convert his love for her cat self into love for her human self, but this somehow led to Takase being closer to other cats. Mi-chan is suddenly picked up by the lady from before. She noticed Mi-chan looking at Takase and decided to assist her in getting closer to him. Takase and Tabby go to check out, but Tabby of course doesn't have any money on him. He's a cat. Well, the lady has just the solution to that. She invites him to work there. She thought Mi-chan wanted to get closer to Tabby instead of Takase. Takase puts 2 and 2 together and thinks that maybe the lady sensed that Tabby is also a cat, and that's why she's inviting him to join. Well, seeing as Takase knows too much, the lady can't just allow him to leave. Now that all the customers have left, they should close up shop. Who could have seen this coming? All the cats working there are in fact humans. The lady introduces Takase to everyone as the new part-timer that's going to be working here. He says that if this sudden request is meant to buy his silence, then she doesn't have to do this. But even if he wanted to rat, not a single soul would believe him. She transforms into a cat herself, begging him to join them. I think I just found my new favorite cat in this series. Michan has some second thoughts, probably realizing that she now would have competition. But Takase is now dead set on joining. He also says that he'll start treating her like a human as she's always wanted. Realizing that she now has the risk of losing his love for her cat self, she jumps onto his back as a cat. Takase is confused about Michan's behavior, but oh well. He can at least snuggle her up. Work is done, and Michan is overjoyed about the fact that she's going to be working alongside Takase. But that joy quickly goes away after remembering that she's going to have to compete to become his favorite cat amongst all of the other cats. She's wondering if she even feels good to pet. She decides to buy some special cat food that promises to soften her coat. It's Takase's first day on the job, and he's stoked. Even if Michan wants to be treated like a human, he now has all of these other cats he can pet non-stop. Or at least, that's what he thought before the lady let him know that he's going to be working behind the scenes. Takase is sitting at a computer when Michan walks in, meowing. He turns around happy, but then just realizes that it's just Michan whom he said he's going to treat like a human. She says that she's taking a break right now, and if there's anything he needs, he can ask her. But he just tells her to go rest. Michan is now mad that he's respecting her choice and trying to treat her like a human. So of course she transforms into a cat and plops down onto his keyboard. Sadly, this is where the manga leaves us with a cliffhanger for now, so